What is going on, guys? Judo Sloth here, and welcome to today's special video. We are talking about a brand new mobile game which is going to be coming to the channel very soon, and joining us we have a very special guest. This is Jake of Dun Rite Games. What's going on, my friend?
Hello, Judo. Thanks for having me, man. Glad to be on your channel for the first time.
Yes, hopefully many more to come.
For sure.
Honestly, the pleasure is all mine having you on. We have a brand new game which we're going to be telling my audience exactly how they can get involved with it right now, how they can get some limited edition items. But before we get into that, obviously they can follow the Dun Rite Games channel for lots more info, but it will be here on my channel as well. Before we get into the game itself, why don't you give me a little bit of history on yourself and just tell my viewers a little bit about how Dun Rite Games first came about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lifelong gamer. I think I'm, our generation. I say our because I think we're pretty close. Was the first generation to grow up gaming, right? I mean, I got a Nintendo when I was 5, so that's about the time that a person can start doing that. So pretty much my whole life gaming. Got big into MMO EverQuest 2 for the better part of a decade, and then from there transitioned straight into Clash of Clans, which is a pretty strange transition from a hardcore PC MMO to a mobile game. And I've sort of had the luxury of watching these games come about, like Clash of Clans and all the things that have come along since then. And was just finally kind of like, man, it could be done better. I don't know why, stuff that flies in the mobile market, it would never fly for PC games or console games. The pay to win model, the weird things that they do. And it's like, it's just accepted because it's mobile. And just, I guess, finally got sick of it. And I thought, well, I'll try. I'll try to see if I can make a game and do something better. And here we are.
Honestly, it's so inspiring that you just had this vision and this idea, and I know it's been a heck of a lot of work, but to actually just put yourself in the deep end and just go for it, it's honestly really inspiring for people. And it's, from hearing the inside scoop, I am certainly excited. You guys will be seeing it here on the channel relatively soon as well. Things have really started going. I know this is many years actually. And the game itself is Rift of Raigard. So obviously my channel, very much like your own, was a Clash of Clans based channel. What are my viewers going to... Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about the game first?
Yeah, well, Rift of Raigard, I mean, we call it that. Rygaard is the world that it's set in, like Earth. It's Rygaard, and there's a war going on. So that's the rift that's between these factions. And you jump into the game, you get to choose your faction, which is something that's not been done in this genre. It is very much in the same genre as Clash of Clans, Rival Kingdoms, Dawn of Titans. These base building, real time strategy games. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're solidly in that sector, but that's pretty much where the similarities stop, we think, from all the games that you've played before. And Judo, you've obviously heard a lot about behind-the-scenes stuff and sort of seen under the hood. But it's just, we try to look at every aspect of these games, everything that was done, and it's like, okay, why? Why is it done that way? Can it be done better? Does it really add anything to the game? Or is it just a frustrating part of the game that we wish wasn't there? And we just went section by section through these games that we've played all of. And not just Clash of Clans, but all these other games. We took sort of the things we liked about it, refined them, and got rid of the things we didn't like about it, and tried to make something that is, while it's familiar because it is a real-time strategy base building game, it's so different in the way you play it and the things you can do, the different game modes, the customization, all the stuff that's just not been done, that people, for whatever reason, just haven't done. We said, we're going to put it in this game.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Like, you guys are here on my channel because of Clash of Clans, and like you said, it's that genre, so it's going to have its similarities, but it is so different. And I think what you said there was really interesting, and it's what inspires me towards, and what excites me towards playing the game, is that this is all set in mind from the ideas of a gamer, and it's all about you playing the game and how you are going to enjoy the game the most. And we are definitely making progress in the background. I mean, I know we briefly talked about Dun Rite's history there. This has been a long journey for you to get to this stage. You must be pretty pretty excited with where you are at the game. I do have some images and kind of things coming up in the background, and to see that progress, it must be just awesome for yourself.
It is, and I am guilty of not knowing how much work goes into it. You think, oh, it's just a mobile game, you know, we'll knock it out. But when you have big aspirations of what you want it to be, then it immediately it's always more money and longer and harder than you think it's going to be. But we put together a really good team, and they've made tons. I mean, there's still a lot of work to do. Don't get me wrong, we have work to do, but so much has been done. We've came so far. You know, so it's sort of both sides of that coin. I'm excited, but I'm trying to keep focused on what we have yet to do. And you know, we don't ever want to be satisfied. That's one thing that I think a lot of gaming companies, again, especially mobile, they put something out. It's got some good, it's got some bad, and that's just sort of like, okay, you know, that's what we've got. And that's just not the mentality we want to look at this thing. We always want to be improving upon it, what we've got and what we're bringing. So even what we have in the game at launch, we're not necessarily satisfied with that. We want to listen to feedback. We want to listen to the community. What can be better? What can be tweaked? And then not only that, but have them help us shape the future of the game by telling us what they would like to see in the game, and give them at least a concept of what we plan to bring to the game, and get that feedback before we just implement it and say, hope you like it. You know, we really want to make this a community-driven project to where we don't have to guess. We don't have to hope they like what's coming. We already know because we already listened to them.
Yeah, and I think you're very much on that track already. You know, I know a lot of the stuff that you have been working on in the background is what, like you said, frustrates people about these games sometimes. And, you know, all of the information that people will need, the Dun Rite YouTube channel, the WeFunder and the KickStarter, which obviously we'll get to, all of them links are in the description. But you have obviously talked a little bit about the game in them Q&A sessions you've done. You've also talked about how potentially extensions into other games as well. Are you able to give people a little bit of a summary in terms of what's actually coming in the game, what they can expect in terms of gameplay, just so they have a brief kind of snapshot and they can go on over to the Dun Rite channel for a little bit more depth?
Yeah, what's coming? Okay, let me tell you this. Very soon, like let's say within a week ish, you're going to get to hear not only on Judo's channel, but some other YouTubers' channel that have sort of became our official spokespeople. Judo's one of those, so you guys can congratulate him on that. Those are the channels where you're going to want to get stuff. And so I don't want to take sort of that away from y'all, but within a week or so, you guys are going to get to hear all about the game modes. And I mean in depth, how the game's going to be played, what you're going to, you know, what each game mode features and how it's different than all the other stuff you've done, and get to ask questions and really get a good concept of what is coming in this game. Because you've seen some artwork and you're going to see more, you know, like you said, in the background and whatnot. That stuff is coming. It's, you know, as we implement it into the game, that's easy. But I want people to know what the game is actually going to be, how it's going to be played, how it's going to be different than what they're used to, so where they really have a good aspect, a good grasp of sort of what's coming down the pipeline and how this game is gamer driven. It is a game that I want to play as a gamer, not as a creator, as a gamer. That's how we've always tried to maintain the focus. So I hate to say too much because I don't want to steal you guys' thunder, but very soon you're going to get to see that stuff on this channel and some others.
Yeah, and I'm very excited and very honored and privileged as well to be able to show that stuff. So yeah, like you said, guys, make sure to subscribe and you will be finding out very soon about that. But let's move on then to the WeFunder and the Kickstarter. Now, these are kind of things that people can get involved with right now, and they can get, you know, limited edition items for the game. Why don't you tell people a brief description about the two of them and what's, you know, what the actual differences are between them as well?
So when we start this whole thing has been funded by people that followed me, and I think that's hard for some people to believe, but that's the honest to God truth. That my channel that I built up, you know, like I said, a Clash of Clans channel, that just liked the way I looked at the game and the criticisms that I had of not only that game but the other games that I played. I just put it out there. So here's what I want to do. And because they had followed me for years, because they agreed with what I was saying for years, and we had this ongoing conversation of ideas, and man, this would be cool if we did this, and this, it could be better this way. They just had that faith in me. So we did a lot of direct dealing with those investors, but without getting too much detail, a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy involved in startups. It is still somewhat of a new thing. And so we have to go through a third party. Well, that's where WeFunder come in for non-accredited investors, just normal people. So it really opened up to almost anyone that has any disposable income to have to invest and actually own a piece of the company. This is not like Kickstarter where you're getting things in game. This is for equity down the road in this company. So you're able to go in for as little as $100 and, take a chance that this really turns into something special and get a return on your money. So that's WeFunder. Kickstarter is on the other side of the coin. We wanted to do this. And there's been a lot of confusion about it, but we wanted to do this for the people that have been following us since the first day I put that video up saying, hey, I want to make a video game, over a year ago. They were interested and they wanted to be a part of it. So the Kickstarter is simply, like you said, exclusive things that will, we have skins in the game. We have ways to customize the way your heroes look or your base looks. And this stuff is going to be exclusive. Once Kickstarter is over, it'll never be sold again. No one will ever have it again, just the people that were there in the beginning. Not only that, you get to do things like reserve your name, reserve your guild name. You get anything you spend on Kickstarter, you get in-game currency of that value. So all the other stuff is free. You're just sort of pre-buying some in-game currency. So we really wanted a way just to give something special, something cool to the people that were sort of day zero people that were following along from the beginning, to where 5 years down the road, if you're still playing this game, people look at that and say, wow, that's really cool. How can I get that? Oh, well, you can't, because it was people that were involved in the Kickstarter. So that's sort of the breakdown on those two things. Kickstarter in-game goodies, WeFunder is for actual ownership of the company.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And I think it's great that, like you said, people, if they invest in the Kickstarter, they get all of that back in-game currency anyway. So that money that they're putting forward and the extra items are just that. It's kind of a bonus because they get that in-game currency, which they would be able to spend the money on when the game is launched. Exactly,
whatever they want. And we want to set a tone. We talk a lot about that. We don't like the way that a lot of game companies treat their customers. And a lot of that has to do with money. They're greedy. They won't, they just try to squeeze every dollar they can out of you and charge ridiculous prices for just visual things and things like that. And we wanted to set a tone with the Kickstarter that's not us, and it never will be. Once the game launches, you'll look at things and you'll say, wow, that's a lot better deal than I'm used to. I get a lot more for my money than I'm used to getting from these mobile gaming companies. Same thing with the Kickstarter. Like you said, all you're doing is pre-buying some currency, and everything else will give it to you. We're just giving it to you. And so that was intentional. We wanted people to know that we're different, and we always will.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think it's also important to remember with the Kickstarter as well, because I know there's been a little bit of confusion with this as well, that the Kickstarter is separate from the funding. So the game is going ahead. The Kickstarter is purely just for extra items to try and give people that, like you said, that little bit of prestige and that little bit extra excitement for when the game actually comes out.
Yeah, there's no question that the game, if we never raised a penny on Kickstarter, the game is still going to get made. It's still going to go to launch. It's not delaying us. It's not doing anything. It is separate. It was something that is actually extra work for us because they have to make all those skins. They have to do, the team has to create these things and implement them into the game. So it's nothing that's going to affect the whether this game makes it to market or not at all.
Yeah, definitely. And like we said, guys, both of them links are down in the description of the video. That's how you can get involved right now. So the WeFunder is actually equity within the company, and the Kickstarter is basically getting them in-game items, purchasing the currency prior to the game launching, and just getting a bunch of cool stuff alongside that as well. So just kind of pulling things to kind of a close here, Jake. Thank you again so much. I know we've already briefly talked there about how very soon we're going to see lots more stuff about the game. We're going to hear a lot more in depth about it. I mean, you don't have to necessarily put a time scale on this because I know things change, but moving forward, what can people expect from Dun Rite? What can they expect in terms of this game?
Well, I always want to be as upfront and honest as possible. I don't want to try to tell y'all something that I know is not likely. So things we are behind where we wanted to be as far as beta. We wanted beta out already, and it's not. But there's a reason for that. We want to put out as polished a beta as we can. And the reason for that is simply that in today's market, you're judged on beta. It's not a true beta like it was 10 years ago. Companies put out these videos or these games, and it's in beta for 2 years, and they call it beta, and it's craziness. So we want to have as polished a beta as we can. We want everything that we know needs to be changed and we know needs to be fixed before we put it out. That way, it's just working out the stuff that we don't know needs to be fixed and changed. So we're a little behind on what we wanted, but I would say alpha for guys like Judo, you guys don't get to see it, but he does, very soon. And beta is probably going to be pushed to the first week or two in January.
Awesome. And I mean, being behind, that's part of life sometimes, isn't it? But like you said, just to get that polished product, it's going to be awesome, guys. And like we said, you can expect a lot more here on the channel very soon. All of the information you need is down in the description, but I think that's going to just about wrap it up for this one. Any closing words, Jake, before we finish off?
No, man, just thanks for having me on. Again, super excited to work with you and your channel, as well as the other guys we have lined up. And as you just told your audience, I promise you, very soon, within a week or so, you are going to get so much information about this game. So many questions going to be answered. I'm sure it'll bring forward lots of new questions, but I promise you, stuff that you guys are not going to be able to hear anywhere else. You're going to hear it right here. So just stay tuned. It's coming.
That's awesome, man. And again, thank you so much for jumping on with us here today. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video, guys. I hope you're excited. I know I am. Until next time, peace out.